Here with my main man, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Phil Scott. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man? What's going on?
So I see you are from Point Pleasant. You've been doing your thing for a while. Congratulations, just awarded your first degree black belt by Pablo Popovitch.
Yes.
And talk to me about Pablo's influence on you, because I know he was named Jiu-Jitsu Fighter of the Year.
Well, I've known Pablo since my family lives down in South Florida. So I started going down there for work a lot before I started doing jiu-jitsu full-time. So I was looking for places to train. I was down there like 6-8 times a year for 2-3 weeks at a time. So I just happened into Pablo's. I just saw the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and his father George, Master George Popovitch. That's who Pablo is under. His father, one of the legends. I went in there and I told him I was from Renzo's, and he was like, "Oh, we love Renzo. You're welcome to train here." And these guys were just. Pablo was just super nice to me, and then I just started training with him. And every time I would go down there, I would go in there. They treated me like family, so it was it was good for me. And I didn't really know back when I was like I just had got my blue belt, So that was like in 02, 01, and I just have been training with him since then. And ended up becoming one of his affiliate schools about a year ago, but have been friends with him since then, and the guy's just the man, he's awesome. His accomplishments speak for themselves, and got guys banging all day long over here. That's all right, though. That's what it's like here, all right? Not only Pablo, his team that he trains with, which is he made a team called the Avengers, which is like a Cyborg's team from South Beach, and Marcus Alameda, and then from the Armory, and Cavaca's there now, and just multiple super talented guys. Wagner Roca, who just won the Abu Dhabi trials. Those guys are just the best. That team right now is smoking everybody. And why are they doing that? Because all they do is train, man. Those guys get in there and they train hard every day. They get together for team training, 3-4 days a week. Pablo's is kind of like center too. Well, the Armory is a little north, Cyborgs is a little south, so they meet up a lot of times at Pablo's, and just it's great training, And as far as Pablo being voted, what were you saying?
Jiu-Jitsu Fighter of the Year.
Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu Fighter of the Year. It goes by accomplishments, man. What this guy's done. He's been in the Abu Dhabi finals 3 times. He finally, he had lost to Marcelo twice, but then his last Abu Dhabi in 2009, he had beaten Marcelo. Hasn't lost. Okay, hasn't even really been scored on. The guy's just the man. Besides that, he's a great guy and a good friend of mine, So, there's nothing more to say about him. I go down there quite often.
And you, of course, your life is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Mm-hmm. Was wrestling in the past as well. You were a standout collegiate wrestler. How important of a base is Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling when going into mixed martial arts?
Well, you see it a lot right now with a lot of wrestlers are doing very well in MMA and in Jiu-Jitsu. Wrestling's a big part of it, but you don't have to be a wrestler to be the man in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But a lot of the guys that like the Brazilians, they're learning wrestling, and a lot of these guys now, like I believe Pablo could go into any D1 tournament and do very well against the top level D1 guys. He's trained with like Ben Askren, Johnny Hendricks, and he's taking these guys down.
Real standout guys too.
Yeah, like top-notch guys. The best there is, and he's right up there. If not getting the best of these guys in wrestling, that's the kind of guy he is. His wrestling's amazing. Pablo also did some wrestling when he was younger, and he's got a little bit of a wrestling base, but just trained hard in wrestling. And just like George St. Pierre, he never wrestled, but the guy's taken down national champions like Koscheck and stuff. So anything you you work hard at, you'll eventually get good at it, you know. And I got my son who's in 8th grade right now, Willie Scott Jr., that we should be hearing a lot about in the next 4 years, hopefully next 8 years, you know. So he's a little banged up right now. He had a rough season, wrestled all season with a banged up elbow. He's probably getting surgery this week on it.
Best of luck.
Yeah, it is what it is with wrestling, you know, and it's a tough sport, and only certain guys could do it. And same with jiu-jitsu, you know, it's a one-on-one sport, and it takes a lot to. Guys are banging around here. It's all right. That's the way it is in this room, you know. It takes a lot for someone to do jiu-jitsu, because it's not like we just brought in the kickboxing and the Muay Thai in here, but the pads don't hit back. You know, in jiu-jitsu, everybody's, we have our classes. They're very structured, but then live training. Right? Well, live training, our motto is no injury, but they go, everybody goes hard. You know who you're training with, so you. If you're going with a lower belt, you're going to let that guy work, you're going to help him out, but he's going to get a live match in there, and he's going to do well, he's not going to get injured, he's going to learn, we're going to point out his mistakes in live training. But when we go so when I go with Tom, or I go with Mac, or I go with some high-level guys, or Jay, or Dan, we go hard, man. It's the way to get better, I get tapped, they get tapped, everybody gets tapped, There's no egos in this room, man. It's not a magical belt that you put on and you just can beat everybody. You got to constantly work, and through injury, and it's rough. It's rough to be competitive all the time. So, and it's in your blood. So that's how it is.
Chat here on this. Who are some up and coming prospects, coming out of your gym right now?
Donnie DeFilippis, I have coming and doing his first fight, and just Google search Donnie DeFilippis. In college, he pinned Edgar twice in college. He was a great high school wrestler out of Jersey. Then he had a good collegiate career. He was at Rutgers and he was at George Mason. Took second in the Midlands. He's just it was very hard getting an opponent for him when people were Google searching him. So he's going to be kind of like a Weidman, we hope, that he's going to get 3 or 4 fights, and then after that it's going to, if he continues to win, it'll be hard in the smaller circuits to get fights for this guy. Another thing about him is he doesn't cut any weight. He's really a 35-pounder. He's fighting at 45, but he probably walks around at like 150. And he also is a cop. So these guys are working full-time jobs, and but he's a wrestler his whole life, and he's still really involved in the wrestling circuit. So he trains like a madman. So we get good training here. We're bringing other guys in. And we train with Curtis, and I believe Donnie's going to be an eye opener. When he I know that people have already known about him, because, like I said, I really had a problem finding a fight for him. Lou finally got a fight, but 10 guys turned him down too. Guys that were 2 and 3-0. So we'll see what happens. I told him he's got to live up to the hype now. Bill Scott, BJJ.com. Website, we have video up there so you can see what's going on in class. We just brought an awesome Muay Thai guy in, Nikolai Novik, and he's from Belarus. He was, they had a big amateur and pro Muay Thai career. He was actually a pro hockey player in Russia. And then we have Michaela, who teaches cardio kickboxing for the women. She's been an instructor for almost 18 years now. And then we have Coach Terry Fisher, who's a legend. Fish is the man. He's been teaching in boxing and kickboxing, and he's another humble guy that really nobody really knows his background, but multiple-time Golden Gloves champion and a lot of kickboxing titles, and he's one of our other instructors. And we just brought that to the program here because we had to, this was strictly like a jiu-jitsu school, but, not a lot of women in jiu-jitsu. So we wanted to put something else out there for the guys that just don't want to do jiu-jitsu, women and men. A lot of guys, they don't want to get on the ground and roll, a lot of guys just don't want to do it. It's rough. It's a lot of dedication. Where the kickboxing is good because they can come in, they can get a great workout, pad work, and no sparring. We have separate sparring days for the guys that want to. Like Nikolai puts on a real advanced Muay Thai class for the guys that want to, become, do some Muay Thai fights or some MMA fights. So we have like team training on separate days. We separate the average guy from the fighters. Yeah, the fighters are a unique bunch of guys. So.
Well, Bill, always a pleasure, man.
All right,
thank you so much.
Excellent, dude.
Thank you.